Okay, Nik Bear here. We're going to do the second video in the Computational Skepticism series. Talk about Brandolini's law. Brandolini's law isn't really a law, but more of an observation by an Italian programmer. If a student wants to, they could do a project validating Brandolini's law. But one of the great strengths of believing whether Brandolini's law is true is logic. Logic is a form of evidence. So the argument is that it's super easy just to make something up, particularly if it's clickbait, if it's attractive. In which case, people will instantly share it if it shares their views and they have the confirmation bias, or it's just interesting or sensational. We see this all the time on the internet. You know, people get to millions of views pretty much through sensationalism. So there's that kind of evidence for it. But what he argues is that sort of it's a lot more effort to refute something than it is just to make something up, particularly if you're intentionally making something up. If you're putting out disinformation there just to confuse and obfuscate and whatever. And so his argument is that it's very quick to produce bullshit, basically. It's a lot harder to stamp it out. And I'll do another video on some case studies on this, which is another form of evidence. But this is basically about the idea. So producing stuff used to take a long time. Now you can do it in minutes. So the cost of making a fake blog, a fake website, fake video, whatever, is often 5-10 minutes work, an hour's work. Then validating it requires work. And people are busy people. There's so much stuff out there that nobody has the time to sort of validate anything. That's what journalists used to do. So the purpose of journalists was to do that for you. They would do all the research. They would give you the whole story. And then you would make the decision. Journalism, and again, don't believe a word I say, just take your own observations, has become much more partisan. They had a point of view and they cherry picked things to fit that point of view. And the way you would analyze that, if you wanted to be formal about that, is look at the sentiment. How often is a right-wing news show very right-wing? How often is a left-wing news show very left-wing? How often do they contradict anything that's not in their viewpoint? If they never contradict anything, i.e. they're always right, then they're certainly wrong. So this is Alberto Brandolini. I want you to guess which one is a real picture. Because I didn't want to use any real pictures, because I don't have copyright to any of his real pictures, I made up 3 fake pictures. It took me about 4 minutes to make these 3 pictures. I would suggest that you search for a real picture of Alberto Brandolini and say, do you think these fake pictures look like the real one? I do. I don't really know the person, but because I don't know the person well, if I casually saw this picture on the internet and something said it was Brandolini, I would believe him. But this is all fake. I actually put the no bullshit on his shirt because his shirt said something that didn't really make sense for the reference that I used to make. This didn't really make sense from his talk. This is how easy it is I could make him literally say anything. Of course, that'd be unethical, but people do it. And so the basic premise here is it's super easy to correct stuff. You need things to check. Well, does this look like an AI image? What are the signs? What are the signatures? Is there any evidence that, these 3 pictures all appeared within 3 minutes of each other, all at the same time? There has been seeming for, et cetera, et cetera. But it's so easy. Create fake stuff, including what you're looking at right now. This is his thing. Technically, you can make these are drawings of the guy. So you can draw somebody for the purpose of making a point. If I had him, sell call to call or something, then you can do that. But you can do things for making a point. And he probably understands the point I'm making, as I'm making what I understand is his point. So these language models can create stuff very, very quickly, as we just saw with the pictures that we created. So I won't harp on that. So skepticism, computational skepticism, how does it deal with this? Basically, we need tools. People are busy people. There's so much information out there. And so we need tools that are going to just be fact checkers, fact gatherers, report makers, whatever, that present stuff to us, particularly for stuff that we care about, and try to be as fair as possible. Just basically get the whole picture. Just gather all the data, organize it so it's easy for me to look at it. That I, as a human being, will make the decision. Skepticism will go into the philosophy of skepticism quite a bit. The basic idea is evidence. We look at evidence for, we look at evidence against, and we weigh it. But to do that, we need to look at the whole picture. What most people do, and we'll talk about this in 2 videos in something what's called paltering, is they say only the good things and not the bad things. And sort of everybody does this. Most people do this on their resume, but not to the extent that it's often known. Example, something like politics, or they'll just quote and rely about things. But we'll get into that. We'll get into paltering. We'll get into first how to use language models to begin to do this quickly, how to write agents to do this, a lot of mathematical techniques for booking statistically at evidence and building it up. But that's the idea of the course. The idea of the course is it's super easy, just sort of create stuff, and there's just a ton of stuff out there. Even if nothing more was created ever, there's still a massive amount of information to shift. The only hope a person has is to have tools, automated tools, to fight the automated tools, bots versus bot. But these bots are the ones working on behalf of you to try to get a fair assessment of whatever. Throughout this course, we already have hundreds of tools built. And so this course is going to be a little meandering in the sense that I'm just going to show tools being built to do this, case study, that case study, all around this thing of let's build tools. All the tools we'll build are open source, meaning we'll show you how to use them. You can take them and adapt them to whatever purpose you want to adapt them to, but it'll be very hands-on. But here's the basic idea. The basic idea is gather all the evidence, have your algorithms and bots be as fair as you can, synthesize it into a nice report, if that's understandable, then have a human being make a decision of whether they believe it or not. Okay? Next video will be a little hands-on. I'll show you how to have language models push back a little bit when you ask them things. Okay? Take care.